So to be able to stay motivated and be able to recognize the progress that you've already made, identify those small milestones and reward yourself with each of them. This could be a small acknowledgement as like you high five yourself or you look in the mirror and high five the mirror. Not too hard because it will break if you do it too hard. It could also be going out for ice cream, spending 30 minutes playing a video game, doing something that you love, whatever it is, spending that smallest of times to reward yourself with small wins. Because as you stack the deck and as you build small wins, you again will be able to get the goal you're going for. I want each of you to think of this question. Reflect on a time when you wanted to give up on a goal or a project. What inner resources did you tap into to keep going? And how did overcoming that challenge change your perception of your own capabilities and resilience? The first thing that pops up into my mind, 2 weeks ago, I get on an accountability call every morning. And this particular morning, I wanted to go out for a run. So after I got on the call, went out and started to do a run. And just like everyone else, did like the short run, walked a bit, little bit longer run, walked a little bit longer after that. And then I was planning on walking home. Right next to my house, there's an elementary school. It's my elementary school, and then there's a wrap around to my place. I told myself, I think I can do it. I think that if I start from where the stop sign starts, that I'd be able to get all the way over to my place. And so as I'm walking there, I open my phone and for those who love Dragon Ball, Prince Vegeta, the Prince of all Saiyans, they have this Vegeta motivation thing where Vegeta's AI voice, I guess, is posted over a bunch of things and just like, keep going, you got this, put in the effort, you're a wimp if you don't do it, just keep pushing, become the power. Click that on, wasn't expecting it to help me. But boy, was I wrong. Because when I started at that stop sign and started to run, my legs were already tired. I was already done. I got to the end of the elementary school, which elementary schools aren't really that big. But once I got to the end, I felt like I was done. But that little voice in my head, which was the audio from the YouTube channel, was just saying, keep going, keep pushing. So I kept pushing. And then as I kept pushing, that voice started to diminish in importance as I kept telling myself, I can't do this. I'm so tired. There's no way I can do it. But then the flip of the switch happened. And when it did, I started to tell myself, Willie, you can do it. It's not that far. Keep going, keep pushing. And I kept pushing and kept running towards it. And I'd set little milestones. I'm like, just make it to the sidewalk. Just make it to the next road. And as I came around that corner and saw my place, it was like, go after that. Keep going. You can see it now. And about 100 meters before it, this voice in my head was just like, Willie, sprint for it. And so I sprinted as fast as I could. And I hit the grass exactly where I wanted to be, past that finish line, and just laid down. I was so done. But as I was catching my breath, I felt so capable that what I thought was impossible was something that I actually did. And in that question I asked, how did overcoming that challenge change my perception of my own capabilities and resilience? I now believe more that I can do more than I thought I could. And especially when it comes to, I got a keg, I got a little weight on me as I'm working on my health journey down. But I know that even though that was an issue in the past, I can push past the limitations that I have right now. And so on this topic of persistence, whenever we talk about setting goals, there's usually 5 places where we get stuck. The last one is persistence. I want to go over the other 4 just super quick so that we can focus on that last one. The first one is belief and mindset. So the problem is that we lack belief in oneself, and sometimes we have a negative mindset. This is like people doubting their abilities, like I did, and feeling overwhelmed by the challenge, which from running from the school to my place, that seemed impossible. And the solution was that self-talk. For me, that worked. That self-talk could keep going. And sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you got to plug in the Vegeta motivation. You got to plug in a third person in your mind to be able to push you past the limits that you had before. Things like affirmations can work, things adding supportive people in your life, as well as what Brian Tracy says all the time, write things down. Write down your strengths, write things that you're great at, and be able to review them every day. That helps with belief and mindset. The second thing is knowing exactly where you are and where you're going. My wife and I took a trip to New York a year or two ago. And when we were there, we were standing in the middle of Times Square. And I'm looking on my Google Maps and I saw Central Park up here. We were right here. I said, okay, I want to go to Central Park. This is where I'm at. We started to walk. After walking for about 15 minutes, New York, it doesn't seem like a big place, but goodness gracious, you can walk forever and still be in Times Square. After 15 minutes, I looked at my phone. We had walked away from Central Park. So, loving my wife and knowing she has an ankle, we called an Uber to actually get to Central Park. But if you don't know exactly where you are and exactly where you want to be in the direction you need to head, then it's going to be impossible for you to get there. And so this problem of it's the lack of clarity in your goals and your current position. And so to solutionize that, clearly define your goal and assess your current situation. And as you do that and create that detailed map and that blueprint, then you're able to take that and then fly with the next steps. The third thing is being able to make the finite plan, that blueprint. So before, when I said know where you are, where you're going, that's the direction you're heading. This is the blueprint and plan. So being able to make that concrete plan, that roadmap to be able to achieve your goal. Because a lot of us jump into action, just like I did in New York, without a structured plan. I thought I was right, but I didn't double down. I didn't double check. And because of that, I was just walking, wasting energy to a place that didn't help me and actually away from the goal that I was aiming for. So the solution for this third one is to break the goal down into smaller, measurable steps. Start from the end goal, work backwards, create that step-by-step plan, and then you'll be able to go forward, getting those key milestones as you go along the way, and then reaching them step by step. The fourth one is taking action, daily action towards that goal, because a lot of us seem inconsistent with our action and inconsistent with the lack of progress that we're aiming for. Solution for this is to commit to just taking smaller, consistent actions every day. I know for myself, I'm on my health journey. And so walking 10,000 steps, that's like the bare minimum. Before that was the outstretched goal, but that's the bare minimum. Because as I walk, I'll get healthier. And that includes being able to then hydrate myself, to then work out more, to then being able to fall asleep at 10:30, which we're lucky if midnight or 1 a.m. hits around. And even I'm working on my spiritual side, which is reading scriptures. I read a scripture a day because I've fallen out of that habit. A scripture a day seems, when I was a teenager, out of place. You got to have your family nights. You got to read a chapter of your scriptures. For me, building a habit, it's that consistent scripture every day that's getting me to where I want to go. So that's number 4, is taking that consistent action. So those are 4 of the places to where you got to believe in mindset, where you find the direction, where you create the plan, and then take the action. Those are 4 of the 5 places that people get stuck with their goals. The 5th one is what I call repeat and restart. This is where patience and the words keep going come into play. Because the problem is, a lot of us, like myself, lack patience. And a lot of other people, as well as myself, again, give up too soon on what's going on. We are expecting quick results, but because we're expecting quick results, we feel discouraged by our setbacks. And so the solution for this is to be able to embrace the process that we're working towards and to be patient with it. As well as when we hit a setback, to then realize that on our way to success, we double down. On our way to success, we're going to make mistakes, but those mistakes are the stepping stones that we need to take to be able to get to where we want to go. And so I want to share with you 4 different actionable steps that you can do to be able to help build that resilience within you and be able to persist as you're going towards your goals and as you're going towards the life that you are creating. The first one, set weekly time to reflect. We do this because this is the time that we take to be able to evaluate what's working and what's not. As we set a goal and as we're going towards it, I know that as we've been building social media and as I've been building my social media presence, if I've stuck with what I learned 5 years ago, there is no way that I would be growing as much as today unless every week I took time to be able to figure out what's going on and then adjust. So we can do this. Choose a specific day. Mine Sunday evenings. Where when you set that weekly reflection time, choose a specific day, specific time each week to reflect on your progress. Use your journal, use your phone, use an electronic iPad, whatever works for you, whatever digital tool, to note your achievements, to note your challenges, as well as the lessons you've learned. Because as we write down and are able to see what's working and what's not, we're then able to accelerate us being the high performers that we're aiming for. The second thing, celebrate small wins. I know that this is one of my hardest challenges to go through because I want the big victories. I want to be able to be on a stage with thousands of hundreds of thousands of people. I want to be able to go out and hit 1 million followers on social media. Like all these big audacious goals that I have, I want all of it. But if I only focus on those, every single day, I get more and more saddened by it not already happening. And it jumps back to that lack of progress, the wanting to do more. So to be able to stay motivated and be able to recognize the progress that you've already made, identify those small milestones and reward yourself with each of them. This could be a small acknowledgement as like you high five yourself or you look in the mirror and high five the mirror. Not too hard because it will break if you do it too hard. It could also be going out for ice cream, spending 30 minutes playing a video game, doing something that you love, whatever it is, spending that smallest of times to reward yourself with small wins. Because as you stack the deck and as you build small wins, you again will be able to get the goal you're going for. The third thing, being able to adjust and adapt. We do this to be able to ensure that our plan that we've made, that blueprint, stays effective and realistic. Life changes, life happens. And so being able to be flexible with our approach is key. And especially if it's something that we have never done before. Sure, there are people out there who have the blueprints, who have the programs, absolutely. But this is our lives that we have. And it's our blueprints that we have to make. So as we're going down the path, if as we're reflecting on it, something's not working, we need to be able to be flexible with our approach and be able to remain effective in that way. And as we pivot in doing something, then we're able to again go towards our goals. If something isn't working, don't be afraid to tweak your plan. Some of the greatest advice that I've received from people are when I share my plan with my mentors and they give me that third-party feedback. So one last thing on this point of adjusting and adapting, seek out feedback from mentors, coaches. Tony Robbins said coaches need coaches, and Tony Robbins like number one, he's up there. If he needs a coach, then I certainly need a coach. And all of us need those mentors and peers to be able to help us with that feedback. Then last, the fourth thing, reaffirm your commitment to what you're aiming towards. We do this to stay focused and dedicated on our goal. And it's really this simple. Just revisit your initial motivation of why you chose it and remind yourself why you started. Like visualize the end goal and just see the benefits of achieving it. What's going to happen in your life? What great things are going to happen? And probably most important is, I heard this from, I believe, Alex Hormozy. If you're aiming to make $1 million in a year, once you get there, it's not about making the $1 million. It's about the person you become along that journey. So as you take those four and as you're going out to reach your goals, make sure you reaffirm your commitment and go out. Realize that progress might be slow, but persistence is the key. Each small step is, as you go forward, is just that much closer to victory. And as you celebrate the small wins and keep going, you realize that failing isn't the end. It's just the stepping stones to get to where you need to go. So I leave you with a challenge with those four, which are set that weekly reflection time, celebrate those small wins, adjust and adapt, reaffirm your commitment. Out of those four, I want you to pick one that you can do today so that you can take small actions to then get towards your goal. You are the writer and you are the hero in your life. So go out and write that story. And I'll leave you with one of my favorite quotes. The master is the master because the master has failed more than the novice has tried. So continue to try, continue to fail, and you'll be surprised at where you're going to end up.